Very good to talk to you today, sir. Give us your reaction to what happened last night over Poland.
Well, we strongly condemn Russia's reckless behavior. We stand in full solidarity with Poland. I had the contacts with my Polish counterpart during this morning, and my Prime Minister had as well. I think our focus right now is to keep NATO strong, and I know also Saker, NATO's Supreme Commander, is reviewing if also NATO now needs to take more measures in order to coordinate the protection of Polish airspace as well. But we are highly critical of Russia's extremely reckless behavior.
Sweden, of course, only joined NATO back in March last year. Has what happened today given you pause for thought? Do you have any regrets about joining NATO?
On the contrary, we are safer in NATO, and NATO is stronger with us as an ally. We just recently, by September 1st, we finalized our air policing mission over Poland, where we protected both what's called NSATO, which is NATO's mission in order to provide assistance to Ukraine. We also did air policing. We were able to do this also as full-fledged allies together with the UK, where the UK deployed their Tornadoes, and Sweden, we deployed our Gripen fighters, and we were able to provide support for upholding Poland's territorial integrity. So we didn't join NATO just to receive security guarantees, but also to give it to allies in order to contribute to stability and security in the whole northern flank.
What do you feel now that this has happened? What do you think the implications are for European security?
This is clearly an escalatory measure now being taken by Russia, which reinforces the importance of keeping NATO strong, of making sure that NATO has a good ability to deter and defend every inch of allied territory. The second thing that I think which this underlines is the importance now of all allies to step up even further. We have these new military capability goals, which we need to fulfill. We have the aim of reaching 5% of GDP within the alliance from our Hague summit. Third point I want to point out is that our unwavering continued support also to Ukraine. I always say supporting Ukraine is both the right thing to do and the smart thing to do, because it's also an investment into our own security. And we are determined to continue that trajectory and continue the long-term to support to Ukraine, and also our commitment to contribute to stability and security of all allies inside NATO.
Of course, your presence in NATO highlights the fact that it is NATO's northern borders, those borders that border Russia, that are perhaps the most endangered. Are you in any way concerned that Sweden, giving such vocal support for Poland, in any way prods Russia, in any way leads to greater concerns over those borders?
Listen, that what we need now is to be strong, and that's the best way in order to assure deterrence as well, as a way also to avoid war. And with our Sweden and Finland inside NATO has strengthened the whole northern flank of NATO, and defense cooperation in Northern Europe has never been as strong as it is today. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant that right now, Russia, of course, is bogged down in and around Ukraine, particularly with its ground forces. But it is ramping up its defense industrial production. It is picking up lessons when it comes to long-range strike capabilities, when it comes to operating drone and electronic warfare. Therefore, we have to use this window of opportunity right now when Russia is weakened by the war in Ukraine to strengthen the whole northern flank, and also invest more into our security and making sure that we quickly transform economic clout into combat power. And I feel there's a strong unity of purpose among all the allies in this region also to do so.
The fact that there has been this incursion into NATO territory and its airspace, do you think this will encourage those countries who've perhaps been a little bit more reluctant to open the purse strings to NATO in the past to do so now?
Yeah, and like Secretary General Rutte always says, we're all frontier states, because it's one for all for one in this regard. So an armed attack on one ally would affect all of us like that. And I think this is another wake-up call, of course, why it's so important to continue investing into our own security and strengthen NATO's ability to deter and defend as well. And that's why we are heavily engaged into those activities. Of course, within that with the air policing in Poland. We have the mechanized battalion in Latvia. We are the framework nation for FLF Finland, and we also our ships are operating under NATO command or under what's called Baltic Center in the Baltic Sea.
And what about Donald Trump? We haven't heard from him. America waking up in the next hour or so, really. What are you hoping he will say today?
Well, I expect a strong message from all allies that we stand in full solidarity with Poland, that we are determined to make sure that the whole alliance territory is safe and secure, and that we condemn this reckless behavior by Russia.
In terms of Donald Trump, do you look at his influence? And I wonder if you think whether it's waning. Over the last 24 hours, it seems neither President Putin nor Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to really care a great deal what Donald Trump thinks, do they?
Well, listen, the message from the Trump administration was very clear at Hague. Two things. United States stands behind Article 5 firmly, but we as Europeans need to take a greater responsibility for our own security. And this is long overdue. And that's also why it's so important that we invest into our own security. So that is by going up to 5% of GDP in our defense investment and security and defense related investments.
As I'm speaking to you, actually, Pål Jonson, we're hearing from the White House that Trump and the White House are apparently tracking reports out of Poland, and there are plans for President Trump to speak to the Polish president today. You presumably welcome that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a time, of course, to stand in full solidarity with Poland, just as Sweden has been doing this morning, and we expect, and I believe all allies are doing the same message right now.
Pål Jonson, Sweden's Defence Minister. Very good to talk to you on Sky News. Thank you.